Previously, on day one of our off-road trip from Phoenix to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. We began our epic trip departing Phoenix and playing around in the Hassayampa River bottom. We connected with the back way to Crown King at Lake Pleasant and headed north. The rough trail took its toll on us and the Jeep, and we made it to Crown King battered and exhausted. Today, we continue day 2 of our journey as we work our way up Senator Highway through Prescott. Later, we'll travel over old railroad beds to Jerome before ending the night in Sedona. Refreshed and energized, we were up at the crack of dawn. Then, hit the snooze button and slept in for 4 more hours. It was 10 a.m. when we had packed up our belongings, checked out the cabin, and headed down the road half a mile to have breakfast at Horse Thief Lake. Just like the logbook at the cabin said, we were joined for breakfast by our new best friends, a whole family of ducks. They enjoyed our donuts almost as much as we did. We checked out the surrounding area and were on the road, trail again by about 10:30. We took the 6-mile side trip back to the main road where we continued left onto Senator Highway. Senator Highway was built in 1866 and connected the well-to-do town of Prescott to the numerous mines to the south, including Crown King. Today, it would bring us 37 miles from the heart of the Bradshaw Mountains into Prescott. The road quickly leaves Crown King and passes underneath the towering and aptly named Towers Mountain. After twisting and turning on the single-lane trail, we headed in a northwesterly direction. As we worked our way north, we began to find several wet spots on the trail. This gave me the opportunity to continue to douse the Jeep with mud and attempt to get my passenger wet.
Yep. Actually, full of water. Scotty. Huh? Scotty. What? What are you talking about? Oh.
A little while later, we came across some trail maintenance.
You got a Jeep here, alright?
Possibly explaining why the trail was so rough in the first place. Just after 1 p.m., we had arrived at Palace Station, an old stage stop between Crown King and Prescott, back in the early days of Senator Highway.
The trail up to this point hadn't been too difficult. Throwing a few rocky sections along creeks and some tight spots, it had been no problem for the Jeep. Things stayed rough after leaving Palace Station, but got progressively more graded and wider as we approached Senator Mine.
Jeep wash. I will get you wet before the trip is over. If I have to push you into the Colorado River, then
Not if I push you first. By about 1:30 that afternoon, we were stopped and exploring what's left of Senator Mine, the namesake for the entire trail we had been on so far. A few old metal structures and lots of cement foundations adorned with graffiti remain. We continued on, finishing up the last few miles of Senator Highway at the quickest rate since 3 o'clock yesterday. Once on the strange black surface trail again, we aired up. We had been off-road for the last 75 miles as we journeyed from Lake Pleasant up through Crown King and finally near Prescott before back on pavement. We quickly passed through Prescott, replenishing some supplies and picking up ice for the coolers. We continued north and had lunch in Chino Valley. Here, we were able to catch our breath for a little while.
At around 4 p.m., we left Chino Valley and headed due east along Perkinsville Road. A few miles outside of town, we split off the main road in favor of a lesser traveled, but straight as an arrow, former railroad bed that aimed us straight towards Jerome. Unfortunately, the bumpy trail kept us going slower than we had liked, and we couldn't make up any time for our extended night's sleep. As we got closer to the mountains, we were buzzed by some helicopters doing training flights from Prescott.
Go ahead, do it. You know you're gonna do it.
The grassy plains and ranches gave way to chaparral vegetation and rocky terrain. After some questionable route finding and consulting a few maps, we had eventually found the right trail.
We took a way wrong turn there.
Doing that?
Yeah. It shouldn't be like this the whole way. It should get even easier.
At this point, the trail got extremely narrow as it hugged a cliff. We were still on the old United Verde Railroad bed, and that was clearly evident at this point. The extremely rocky and lightly traveled trail kept us at a crawl. Hopefully, we wouldn't have to pass anyone on this narrow trail.
By about 6 o'clock that evening, and what felt like days later, we had climbed up to the significantly easier Jerome-Perkinsville Road. From here on out, it would be a cakewalk. We let our nerves settle down from the past 20 miles and enjoyed the view of the Verde Valley. We continued east along the High Shelf Road as it wound its way towards Jerome. The local welcoming party, a herd of cattle as it were, made sure we were doing at a safe speed on the road. Finally, by about 6:30 that evening, we reached a high point and dropped down into a small mining town of Jerome. Clung to the side of a mountain, Jerome certainly is a unique place to visit, but again, we found the streets empty.
We made up some time heading down the mountain as we passed through Clarkdale and Cottonwood. We were just outside of Sedona on 89A when the Jeep bucked again. Luckily, because we were at higher RPM, it didn't stall, but it was a harrowing reminder of what easily could have happened deep in the mountains between Chino Valley and Jerome. We rolled into Crescent Moon Ranch and through a locked gate. We arrived at our next cabin just before sunset. We were slightly amazed at what was waiting for us.
Crescent Moon Ranch is a huge and perfectly set cabin that is available for rent at the base of Cathedral Rock and within a 5-minute walk of Oak Creek. We couldn't believe that this place was ours for the night. It was a shame that we didn't have more people that could enjoy it with the two of us.
We watched the sunset again, and Cathedral Rock jumped into the shadows of twilight as we unpacked the Jeep once again. Unlike Horse Thief Cabin the night before, there was an abundance of space to throw our stuff. We prepped dinner, watched a movie, and enjoyed the night talking about our epic journey the past 2 days. Next time, we continue with day 3 of our off-road trip as we head from Sedona north to Flagstaff. Along the way, we'll face the toughest trail we've encountered yet as we off-road over red rocks and through more unique terrain on the way to the bottom of the Grand Canyon.